Greetings everybody, greetings from Detroit Automate Show. We are here with Neil Smith of Schneider Electric. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you, Lucian.
Now, we talked last month at Hanover about some of the trends in European markets. Maybe give us an update in the CPG and life sciences. What do you see here in North America?
Yeah, so first of all, it's really good to meet you here in the US. We're very proud to be here and show off our showcase for the industry. Today we have a very food and beverage, a brewing focused narrative around our stand, but the opportunity here in the US is quite broad. So what I'm seeing within the North American market is a real focus on life sciences right now. So in the last 2 weeks, we've seen tremendous amount of pledges of investment within the local marketplace. So what does that actually mean for industry? So we see that over the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to see, a doubling of capacity almost in terms of the manufacturing footprint of many organizations. And big questions to solve is how do you do that? How do you do it effectively? How do you deliver on time? One of the big issues in the industry is, of course, it typically takes about 6 years for a life science company to build a biotech facility. How do you shorten that to 3 years? So what we're showing here is really technologies that help you do your design, your build, and also your then commissioning and operational efficiency. So very happy to be here today.
Thanks for those insights. Now, at AGM 25, you discussed the value of modular production lines for agility. What's the next layer of value beyond agility that modularity can unlock for CPG operations or life science in 2025?
Yeah, so I mean, I think some of the problems to solve are very similar between the two. So it's about how do you actually build a line that's relevant today, but also is operable in the new environment where you're actually going to be, say, 2050, 2060, these lines are still going to be operational. So how do you anticipate the future? So how do you design a line that's actually sort of capable of running today, but also can anticipate the changes that you're doing? So how do you make yourself very capital efficient? So things like modularity around the design of the machines. How do you do things like our multi-carrier 12 is a good example of that. How do you increase the throughput, increase the SKU flexibility that you have? How do you integrate that into robotics? So how do you supplement the workforce, but also how do you keep it running in an environment where your workers that are running your plant in 2050, 2060 haven't even been born yet today. So this is a really interesting challenge within the industry to solve.
Also exciting times to be there.
Yes.
So now, which types of CPG or life science operations are successfully scaling customization and flexibility, and what's still holding back others?
I think I would say where we see economic pressure. So our food and beverage customers, they're not normally quite as profitable on a point basis compared to, say, life sciences. So we see the technology adoption quite high. Also, some of the challenges they face in terms of the ever-evolving consumer tastes is presenting them some unique challenges about how do they stay cost effective, how do they change their product design. Their products might be seasonal, so if you're changing what you're running in a plant every 6 months or so doing campaigns, how do you do that in an efficient and cost effective manner? So how do you bring energy into the mix? How do you reduce your energy footprint? And again, I mentioned multi-carrier. Multi-carrier is typically 30% energy efficient compared to the traditional approaches. So these things all have a marginal gain on your terms of your operations in terms of what's the contribution today, but also how do you safeguard that future operations for products you may not have even invented today.
Expand a little bit on, you said multi-carrier?
Multi-carrier, yeah. Multi-carrier 12. So we have it here on the stand. It's a modular solution. It replaces dedicated product carriers within an environment. What it allows is for a machine builder to design a highly compact, space-efficient solution that actually allows them to design in highly flexible manufacturing environments so that customers can change the SKUs. So if you want to go make a half a pound product to a 1 pound product in terms of volume, or change the packaging from a three unit carton to a 6 unit carton, you can do that on the same machine.
Thank you for those insights. Now, where are you seeing the clearest ROI for smart automation, and what's still getting overhyped in 2025?
So That's quite a hard question to answer specifically.
In the context is not a vertical.
So because if you get into different verticals, you see different solutions that really have clear ROI cases. If I take, like we have here with a brewing thing, anything around increasing the energy efficiency. So what we're seeing is electrification happen. That increases the ability, improves the ability to for the control. Now, some parts of the world it's a little bit, we talk about sustainability here, but there's still an economic imperative around that in terms of that translation. And so what we're seeing really in terms of the operational aspect is how do you eliminate waste? So the integration of vision, motion, energy management, it's all about reducing the inputs that you have and also making sure that if you have deviation in your processes that you can capture it early enough. So what we can see on the screen behind us is our software portfolio, which allows you to detect these anomalies in flow. So you have the opportunity to improve or correct a batch or correct a set point on a process such that you can save the batch. If you can save the batch, you then can actually eliminate the waste. So it's not just about circularity and reusing waste within the process or within I guess the whole ecosystem. It's actually if you can eliminate the waste in the first place.
Right, so the big screen behind us, you have tools that allow you not only to measure, but also perhaps improvements on not just energy consumption, but also eliminating waste.
Yeah, correct, so eliminating waste.
Yeah. So what kind of CPG apps or life sciences stand to benefit most in the Schneider Electric Lexium MC12, and where might benefit, might be the right fit?
So I think anyone who's working in a packaging environment, I think one of the things we had mentioned earlier about this form factor flexibility, I think is where we see really a high value. One of the advantages, of course, with Multi-Carrier 12 is that it uses the same control platform as we do with our motion control. So you can do tight integration, and you can also integrate our robotics on the same automation platform. So that means you have less hardware to buy, but also less things to support. And you start to integrate in with the sort of what were traditionally manual operations with cobots and other forms of robotics, and you can even get into the end-of-line aspects of how do you go into your mobile robots and get into the warehouse automation systems as well.
Thanks for the insight. Now, we touched at Hanover a little bit, but looking ahead, what's one shift, technological or cultural, that you believe will define the next phase for digital transformation in manufacturing, whether it's for CPG or life sciences, particularly as here in North America?
Yes, so I think one of the current trends I see is around robotics adoption. US is fastly adopting robotics, and I think this will continue, right? We see, if you look around on the show here, not just here within Schneider, but also with the other vendors showing there, whereas robotics is clearly a big thing. That said, the one area I think is going to have the biggest impact for benefit is obviously artificial intelligence. I think we're really just at the cusp of it. We see an adoption take up around embedded AI within a pump set or within a drive, within a machine level, but also we can see how do we actually connect up to the enterprise level. How do you publish data to the cloud? How do you solve the problems you don't necessarily have today? This is where I think the biggest benefit to the biggest step change in efficiency will come from within the CPG industry.
Thank you, Neil. Exciting times ahead in manufacturing, particularly as AI is making its way from the small device to the enterprise-wide. So if you have questions for Neil or people on his team, feel free to leverage the hashtag on the screen or stop by at the RMA show.
Perfect. Thank you.